Hello, and welcome to another verbaling class. Tonight's class is debate. Hello, Edson.
Hello.
How are you?
Not bad, and you?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm glad you could make it tonight.
It's nice.
Were you in the class last night where we talked about oil?
Yeah,
Excellent.
I remember the movie that you sent to us to watch and to discuss about it.
Excellent. Well, what I thought I'd do at first is just go over a couple of things. So I'm putting together another document here that talks about what is a debate. So to you, could you read a few of these for me, please?
A debate is an argument.
Yep. Next one.
A debate has strict rules of conduct, utilizing sophisticated techniques. You
Yeah.
must know.
Sorry to cut you off there, but in this class, they're not as strict as a true debate because the purpose of this class is to communicate, to have a conversation. So it's a secondary debate using all the rules. Continue the next bullet, please.
You may be put in a position where you must argue the opposite of what you believe in. This is an important part of the art of debating.
Yeah, so you don't always have to believe in what you're debating. It's not required. But when it's your turn, you must be prepared, especially in this class, to support the affirmative or the negative. Rexia, could you read the last two bullets, please?
A debate is confrontational in nature, similar in structure to courtroom proceedings.
Yeah, so it's confrontational.
Yeah, confrontational.
Yeah, it's you contradict each other. You're not supposed to agree, right? It's not the purpose. You show two different viewpoints that are opposed to each other. And yeah, it is very similar to a courtroom. In the courtroom, you have a lawyer for the defense and a lawyer for the prosecution. One tries to acquit the person to get them off. The other person tries to convict. They start off with their opening statements. They finish with their closing statements. And in between, they each try to show evidence as to why he or she is guilty or innocent. And you guys kind of know this. So I just want to kind of harp on this a little bit for this class. Evidence is important to have because if you've got a good piece of evidence, you can very easily score a point, go on to the next issue, piece of evidence, go on to the next issue, and show evidence, and you can score many, many points. Okay? Be clear and be concise. Now, a couple of terms here. We've used these before, and we'll use them again today. This conversation that we're having, this discussion, is a debate. The debate topic is the resolution. And in this class, Wellington, what is the resolution?
Hi guys. The resolution is the oil is the cheapest and best form of energy.
Thank you very much. Yes, it is. Okay. And the affirmative means that's the team that supports the resolution. The negative opposes the resolution. And the rebuttal is where we refute each other. Now, what I'm going to do as we go through the class and debate, I'm going to show you some of the other slides, but I don't want to spend a lot of time doing a lecture. That's not the purpose of this class. Okay? Now, the good news is we have 4 students, which is perfect to get us started off. Hello, Hyde. Welcome back.
Hello, nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well. I wasn't sure if I was going to see you again. I'm glad you made it tonight.
Thank
All right, guys. So, very simply put, I'm going to break the class into two teams. I'm going to have Edson and Hyde on one team, and Wellington and Ruxia on the other team. Wellington, do you want to be the affirmative or the negative?
The affirmative.
Okay, I'll give you the option of being the affirmative. So, Wellington and Ruxia, you're the affirmative. Now, Wellington, you're going to be giving the opening statement. And Ruxia, you will be giving the first rebuttal. So Wellington will go first, and then somebody, well, maybe Ruxia won't go next, but we'll cover off Wellington's opening statement. And then on Edson's team with Hyde, which one of you would like to give the opening statement for your team on the negative?
Okay. I can start. Can I?
Who would like to give the opening statement for the negative on Edson and Hyde's team?
Yeah.
Okay, Hyde. So you will go after Wellington. You've got 2 minutes. Try to introduce as many facts as possible. I'm going to give you guys a bit of time, and we're going to have a quick little discussion before we get into this, okay? So it gives Wellington and Hyde a bit of time to get their thoughts together. Ruxia.
Yes.
Welcome back. Do you remember which team you're on?
No.
You don't?
Is it with Wellington?
Yes, it is. It is. So, were you in my class the other night where we talked about oil?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, look, the class is getting really full here. We might have to change the teams. Okay, this is perfect. We've got 6 now, 3 a team. I'm actually going to change the teams. It's going to be Wellington, David, and Edson versus Francisco, Hyde, and Ruxia. The reason I'm doing that is on my screen, it's how you guys are easily blocked off or grouped up, and it makes it easier for me to manage. So, Wellington, you're going to start off with the opening statement for the affirmative. Hyde, you will start off the opening statement for the negative. Okay? And then somebody else on your teams will do a rebuttal, and then another person can do a rebuttal. And we'll do this for a while until you guys are ready to do a closing statement. Now, something that's very, very important. See if I've got it written down here. No, let's go back up here. These are just how you would introduce. Okay, well, this is a good way of looking at it. After the opening statements are done, you would start off by saying, hello, my name is, and my first point is this. And then you provide the explanation behind that. Now, that could be evidence. If you guys have time to go to Google and get facts, that's even better. And once you've provided that clear piece of evidence, boom, go on to the next one and say, my second point is this. My third point is this. And keep going. See how many you can get. Now, keep in mind, you're only going to have about a minute. If you're doing an opening or closing statement, I'm willing to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to start when the clock hits 10 minutes after. We'll start with Wellington. And yes, I'm taking my time because I'm trying to give you guys a chance to get ready, to get prepared. While Wellington is talking, everybody else should be writing things down, especially the opposing team. What facts does he write? Write those down and think how you can refute what he says. Okay? And then when Hyde goes, everybody on the affirmative should be paying attention to what Hyde has to say and is jotting it down. If you can, have another window open to Google, use Wikipedia, and search for facts to help support your viewpoint. All right, it's 10 after. Wellington, I'm going to give you up to 2 minutes. You don't have to use the entire 2 minutes, but you will hear a sound. Once that sound starts, your turn is over. Are you ready, sir?
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Now you might want to summarize your position, right? So the introduction of why it is. That's the closing. Where is it here? You can tell I just put this together, right? So good afternoon or good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for today's debate is, go off and say it, kind of define it a little bit, all right? So Wellington, go ahead, starting now.
Okay. So good afternoon, guys. My name is Wellington. I'm from Brazil. I'm here to talk about oil. Nowadays, the people, the countries, the scientists, they are looking for new sources of energy. But I have to say that oil indeed is the cheapest way and better form of energy. Uh, why? Because we can find oil in different places. The earth, of course, is the natural source. The oil is there. We have only to study and dig a place, a hole, and pick the oil. And with them, we have many derivatives like butter, plastics, diesel for cars, and other things. With oil, we can use the to move cars and machines, many things. Uh, Also, we can use oil to eliminate the behavior. Uh, um, Before 20, 30 years ago, I think the majority of the people used oil, and even now in places like Africa, places where the people don't have a lot of resources, they use oil to light their houses. And so, I
Thank you very much.
uh,
Okay, now it's always tough. I pick on Wellington quite often to go first, and it's almost unfair. But very well done, Wellington. It was probably better when you had your name written a different way and you were always one of the last ones to start. So good open. You more or less followed the slide that I have here. The resolution was introduced, but you didn't say the topic of our debate is, okay? But still, you did introduce the resolution. And then you went on to why, and you offered a few points as to why. Well, we can find it everywhere, okay? Many products could be made from it. It's very good. Now, there's a few points you didn't mention that you probably could have, but I don't want to give you too many tips here because that takes away from the other side, okay? Because we're going to do one round. We'll talk about it a bit, and then we'll go do another round. So this is kind of a warm-up. Okay, Hyde, are you ready?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to start your timer now.
Okay. Good morning from Japan. My name is Heide. Thank you for listening to my speech about oil. And oil price is very low recently. Yesterday I saw the news. It was the lowest in the price because Japan is the only oil importing country. So it's very good news for Japanese. But if I think about the world economy, it's very bad news because since the stock market opened this year, every day stock price is getting lower and lower. It caused the Shanghai market. Shanghai market went down rapidly 2 days ago. Then the government closed Shanghai market, and even yesterday opened a very short time. But after that they closed. It's one reason. Another reason is the oil price. Oil producing countries, they are very rich. They were very rich before. They invested a lot of money to the stock market, but they are getting poor. I heard even Saudi Arabia, they are going very poor, but they can't rise up the oil price because they want to keep their share of the market. Then it caused the stock market worse. New York market and Shanghai and Japan, all stock market is getting worse. Maybe this year, I'm worrying about the world economy, like Lehman shock or something happened this year.
Okay, thank you. With 2 seconds left, well done. And guys, a tip. When I say you've got a minute, if you have a smartphone or something with a timer on it, time yourself so that way you finish before the timer goes off. All right, you got a lot of points here. Good introduction, Hyde. The only thing, though, is at times it seemed like you were arguing the affirmative. Oil is cheap and the best form of energy. Remember, that's the resolution, and your team, which includes Ruxia and Francisco, is against that, right? So you will say, no, oil is not the cheapest and is not the best form of energy. So that's really the theme for you guys. So I will say out of the both of you, while Hyde, you got more points, I think it was a little more clear what the position was on the affirmative. Now, for the rest of you, you've got a minute of time for the rebuttals. David, why don't you go next for the affirmative? Or David, would you like to go next for the affirmative?
Sure.
Okay. And after David, Francisco, would you like to go next for the negative?
Okay, right.
Okay. Now, after those two go, Edson, you will go next for the affirmative. You'll have a minute. And Rexia, you will go next for the negative. So that way you guys have an idea of what you're going to be saying, how much time you have. Then Hyde and Wellington will each go one more time. No, you'll go one more time, but you'll do the affirmative. Sorry, you'll do the. Sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up. You'll do the rebuttal, and then I'll have somebody choose. We'll do a raffle to see who gets to close off before we go on to the next round, because this is a practice round, and I'm trying to think in my head how much time we have, so that way we can spend a bit of time practicing, and then we can try it again, and you guys are more prepared. All right, so David, you have 1 minute. Starting now, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David, and I'm calling from the USA. And as my friend Wellington mentioned, oil is still the cheapest and the easiest form of getting energy. The reason for that is because we have used oil for so long, and so we have all the infrastructure is ready. We have refineries well equipped, and they are all over the places, and that's the reason it's so cheap. Also, as my Wellington mentioned, it's a cheap way to increase the industries in many countries, especially developing countries.
Time is up. And I can't give you a point for that because, well, as you said, it's something that Wellington had already said. So you could say, as Wellington said this, let me give you more evidence to back that up or something. But either way, you didn't have enough time to close off the point. But still, 3 points within a minute. Very good. Good introduction. You restated the resolution. Well done, David. Right, next, Francisco, are you ready?
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Francisco. I'm calling from Mexico. So I'm going to explain my first point, and I'm going to explain the reason that I don't support your point of view. Uh, well, we are. I'm living well, Mexico is a producer of oil in mass. Mexico produces a lot of barrels daily. Uh, well, in this moment, economy is going down. It's very fluctuating. The China stock exchange is going down. So this is provoking, or this is the cause that the oil is getting down. But I think well, Mexico is very we depend a lot of oil price, but I think my second.
Sorry, I got to stop you because I can't take any more points once the chimes go off. So, good introduction. And I know it's tough because you're trying to think, what can I say within 1 minute? So I gave you a point. I don't think that point was completely articulated. So Mexico produces a lot of oil. The economy is going down. Oil is not helping. China is going down. Oil is causing this. I think that was the essence of your point there. Thank you very much, Francisco.
Okay.
Right. Now we're going to go back to the affirmative. And Edson, you have a minute as well, sir. Edson, started. Edson, you've got 50 seconds left. Okay, so far Edson hasn't made a good introduction. I think he might be having technical problems. Edson, we can't hear you. I would suggest leave and come back. Try that again. Rexia, get ready. It's going to be your turn. All right, we're down to 20 seconds.
My turn?
Hold on, time is up. You may go ahead, Rexia.
Okay, so let me see what. Hello, my name is Raksha. I'm calling from US. So my first point is I think oil is not the cheapest and the best source of energy because as you guys all know, oil price can fluctuate and sometimes it can be very high. So it's nowhere near like cheapest energy. We can have other sources of energy such as nuclear energy or wind energy, some solar energy that are cheaper than oil, and also it's also not the best energy. As we all know, there's the BP oil spoil and the Gulf, it can pollute the environment.
All right.
So not the best energy.
You got most of that last point there. So good introduction. It's not cheap, and then boom, because you explained right away that it fluctuates and sometimes it's very high. Okay? Now, affirmative, and guys, as I'm giving you feedback on your points here, I'm not saying there aren't holes in some of these statements. It's up to you guys to find the holes in your opposing team. Okay? Now, other sources, nuclear, wind, and solar, really that's all 1 point. It's just I'm typing fast, but good job. And then not the best because of oil spill, BP oil spill, we know about that. Yes, obviously that point could be developed more in the future. Again, you've only got a minute, so it's very tough. And the nice thing about when you're doing the rebuttal, if you try to hit off at least one good solid point, stating multiple reasons, you can do quite well. Okay, it's 24 after. Now I'm going to go back to Wellington and Hyde. Guys, you each have a minute each. Wellington, why don't you start us off? Go ahead, please. Wellington? Your time has started.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Like I said, oil is cheap. Is we can find in many places. Uh, Also, oil we can store and for the system of transportation, like car, truck is good. Also is good. Um, if you use oil, we can use the derivatives many times in many things, many goods. Brazil also discovered a place we call Pressal, and I think the oil is we will be oil to the future, not depend of the Middle
Sorry,
West.
gotta stop you. Now, guys, you gotta watch the clock, because once the debate starts and your clock ticks, I can't reset it. So you lost 13 seconds, Wellington, but you still got 2 points. Now, keep in mind, if you're summarizing or restating what you said before, I can't give you points for that because it's something you've already said. So I'm trying to challenge you guys to continue and bring up a new point, right? So, yes, Brazil did discover a large reserve. Why is this important? Well, the more oil, the better the price, right? Supply and demand. Okay, we're back over to Hyde to provide her to refute it. Now, before I do that, I just want to tell David, Edson, Francisco, and Rexia that you guys are going to do. Should I give you each enough time to do a rebuttal? No, you know what? I want all 4 of you to practice to get ready to do the closing statement for your team. You will have up to 2 minutes. I will do a draw to figure out who will actually do the closing statement for your team, but I want you to both get ready for it. So, Hyde, you have 1 minute. Go ahead and provide a rebuttal for the negative.
1 minute. Okay. Oil price is very cheap, but for Japanese, it's not big deal because nowadays Japanese cars changed to the hybrid. A recent hybrid car from Toyota, it can run 40 kilometers only by 1 liter of oil. So even though it's a high, expensive or cheap, it's not big deal anymore. And even that automaker is changing the energy resource to the hydrogen. Now the government are urged to construct hydrogen stations. There are many companies in that hydrogen industry. So maybe in the future we don't need to use our oil.
Again, you finished before your time. Well done. That really adds to the professionalism of it. Now, I think the one thing, I gave you 3 points here. So Japan switching to hybrid, you're looking to hydrogen, and we won't need oil in the future. But I think the one thing you're missing here to tie it really all back in is why? Because oil is not the best form of energy, right? Japan is adopting these technologies because, and that would have quickly got you 2 points by just doing that, right?
Yeah, hydrogen is very good. They produce hydrogen from the water, seawater. Then it's used for the energy. Then they emit only water from water. So it's very good, clean.
Yeah, and there's something else I'd like to tell you too, but I can't because it gives you guys information and not the other team. Okay, so David and, who did we lose? Edson. Okay. David, you're going to provide the closing statement for your team because obviously Edson's not here. So get ready. Let's see. Francisco and Rexia, are you both there?
Yes, okay, here we are.
Good. Rexia, you're there? Rexia, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I want you to pick a number between 1 and 10 and write it in the chat.
I
I'm
did
waiting
it.
for Francisco. Okay, Rexia, you won. It was actually 9, and I didn't get Francisco's vote, so you get to do the closing statement for your team. However, David must go first. Now, before David gets to go, again, the structure here, guys. Now, this is a very formal way, and I'm not the chairman, but if you want to use this, that's fine. Mr. and Mrs. or Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I'd like to state for the record our resolution is blah, blah, blah. And I'd like to summarize our key points. Point number 1, boom. Point number 2, boom. Point number 3, boom. Point number 4, boom. And to counter what our opposing team is trying to say, and you can go and say something like, our team has said this. However, we know this to be true. And if you have a chance, use humor, because that can really help too. Because remember, you're trying to convince the audience, okay? Right, you have up to 2 minutes, David, but you certainly don't have to use 2 minutes. Your time starts now, David.
Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to state that oil is the cheapest and the most easy to form of energy in the world. It is easy to get oil because it's everywhere in the planet, in the rainforest, near the beaches, under the ocean, in the North Pole, the South Pole, everywhere. Point number 2 is it's easy to produce oil because we have the technology, advanced technology, because we have used it for so long. So we do have top-notch technology in terms of producing oil. Number 3 is also easy to get oil to all over the world, especially for the countries, the developing countries, and it's a cheap form of an energy for everybody to use. In conclusion, I think I want you to realize that this is true. I'm not making it up. So if you don't believe me, you can also go online and check it out. But so far, oil is the cheapest and the easiest form of energy on the planet. Thank you very much for your attention.
All right, I don't know if trust me or go look for yourself is probably the best way to close, David, but well done. Good introduction. You restated clearly your resolution. Okay, hey, it's everywhere. It's easy to produce, easy to transport, and you kind of told us why. Then you did your closing statement. So neatly, tightly done with 1 minute and 31 seconds. Now, Hyde, it is your turn. Then we're going to do this all over again, but you guys will be more prepared. All right, Hyde, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, it's very difficult. The purpose we import a lot of oil, and almost all oil used to the electric generation plant. Nowadays, the government closed all nuclear generation system because of earthquake. After that, it exploded. So they are checking again. It's very difficult. So nowadays we are burning oil, a lot of oil, to generate electricity. It's very bad for the environment. Maybe the air is polluted much more than earthquake, which happened 4 years ago. So we need to think about that. Maybe we need to restart a nuclear generation system. But many people disagree with that, so it's a kind of conflict in Japan.
Is that it, Hyde?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason I asked you if that was it, you didn't do in closing or in conclusion, and you didn't do an introduction, but good point. So the government is closing nuclear because of the earthquake. However, they're bringing it back because oil is really damaging the environment. Now, before I give you guys a complete review here, I want you to understand a few things. It's tough to do this in a short time period. So before we do our next round, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys some points. So Hyde was talking about nuclear. We all know what happened in Japan. problem with most of the nuclear generators, they're using type 1 generators. So they produce a lot of nuclear waste. Now, this is nowhere near the amount of waste that is produced from oil, but unfortunately, it hangs around for a long time. Now, type 2 generators, they reuse the waste. So whatever waste comes out of the reactor goes back in. It gets reprocessed, goes back in. So for every, for example, 100 barrels of nuclear waste, maybe only one comes out of a nuclear reactor. Okay? So nuclear can be a lot cleaner. Now, on the affirmative side, you kept saying that oil was cheaper for many reasons, and you forgot to mention the most obvious one. Wellington, what do you think the most obvious reason is why oil is the cheapest form of energy?
Yeah, because the weight, maybe, I don't know, not sure, but the way to refine it to use it, I think, is not expensive, and so it is in the nature.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's already there. You don't have to make anything. You just pull it out of the ground. It's already a made product. Put it in a large kettle, boil it, and you get kerosene, you get gasoline, you get all these other gases coming out of it, right? Yeah. So that's what refining is. Essentially, you're heating it up, and depending on the temperature is what kind of stuff you get out of it. Okay, I want to immediately go to round 2. We got about 23 minutes left. So David and Wellington, you're going to be the negative this time. Francisco, Hyde, and Ruxia, you're going to be the affirmative. Okay, did you guys catch that? David and Wellington, you're on the negative. Oil is not the cheapest and is not the best form of energy. Hyde, Ruxia, and Francisco, oil is the cheapest and best form of energy. The affirmative always goes first. So I'm going to give the person opening 2 minutes each on the affirmative. Who would like to provide the opening statement? Can I get some volunteers? One. Excellent. Thank you for volunteering, Ruxia. Okay, so Ruxia will go first. She will provide us with the opening statement for the affirmative. She will have 2 minutes, and your basic structure for how to open is right there on the screen. David, why don't you do the opening statement for your team since Wellington already went, and give Wellington a break. Wellington, you will then do a rebuttal after we've heard the opening statement from the affirmative. Now keep in mind, as Ruxia is providing the opening statement, David and Wellington, you guys should be writing down key points that she's coming up with. Now I'm doing it too, but you should be paying attention to those points and maybe Googling, finding out where she's wrong and argue against it, attack their points, be confrontational. All right, Ruxia, you have 2 minutes starting now.
Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So the topic for our debate today is oil is the cheapest and the best. Let me see the title. The cheapest and the best form of energy. We think so. In terms of when we say cheapest, it is obvious. Cheapest means that's requires the least investment. And by saying the best, it's an overall assessment of the energy, such as the utilization, the cost, and also the efficiency, and also the possible danger it could pose to the environment. We believe that oil is the the cheapest and best form of energy because it is already usable form, and the only thing you need to do is just extract. You don't need any fancy nuclear reaction or anything. You can capture some natural energy such as solar energy and wind energy, so it's much cheaper, and it is also the best because it is a very efficient form of energy. We can use a little bit oil can actually provide a lot of energy, can run the car, do all kinds of things as compared to some weak form of energy. We do acknowledge that sometimes oil can pose danger to environment, but to overweight, to just put everything together, we
All
think
right, I'm going to stop you.
it's still the best form.
Now, right at the end, you kind of lost the point because you said, we realize there's a danger to the environment. Well, that helps the negative, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying to say what we define by best is the overall.
I can't let you say anything any further because you've used up your time. So this is where it's very important to pay attention to your time. If you know you're coming up to the end, you don't want to introduce something if you don't have enough time to finish it because it could work against you. So if you've got a smartphone, use the timer, and when I say starting now, press start, and you know how much time you have. All right, but well done. You scored a lot of points. Very organized, Ruxia. Well done. I mean, seriously, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. I think that's well done. So round of applause to you. Okay, now we're going to go back over to the negative, and David's going to start us off. David, your time starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David, and I'm against this proposition because actually it's not correct. The reason number one is that using fossil fuels contribute to global warming. That's a fact. Fact number two is not renewable, meaning that we cannot produce this energy like we do with wind or other types of energy. Fact number three is unsustainable. We cannot keep on using energy, this type of energy forever. It's coming to an end very soon. Fact number four, it's subsidized by the government. That's why it's so cheap, because the governments subsidize this type of energy instead of investing in another energy that will be better for the whole world. Fact number five, accident happens, and big ones, big time. You can see that they are oil damaging our coastlines, our marine life. So it's so negative, it's so dangerous, it's so bad for the country, for the economy, for the people. So why are we doing this? Just because it's cheap? That's not the solution. So for these 5 points, I think we need to reconsider using better types of energies, renewable, unsubsidized, and more importantly, not damaging our world, our habitat. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, very well done there. You got it in just before the 2 minutes are up. Sorry for the spelling mistakes, but David was giving me so many points. I had to type fast, and I knew I was making mistakes, but good God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points, David. That's a record. Well done. Well prepared. Okay, so the affirmative, David's really kind of put a lot of holes in your resolution, so you guys have a bit of work to do to kind of chip away at those. And of course, Wellington, when it's your turn, the affirmative had a good opening statement too. They've made some good points. Now let's see. I'm going to introduce something called peak oil. David touched on this. Peak oil means that, well, there's a certain amount of oil on the planet that we can access. We're producing a lot, and that production keeps going up and up. At a certain point, it's going to become harder and harder to extract the oil. which means no matter how hard we try, each year the amount of oil that we're able to pull out of the ground will be less than the year before. We haven't gotten there yet. I don't know when we will, but that's something to discuss. And something else I'm going to throw out there, because I want you guys to think of this too. What is the cost of oil? It's not the cost to produce it. It's the cost to produce it, deal with it, and dispose of, and other elements cleaning up too, right? So you got to look at the total cost. All right. So Francisco, you have a minute to refute what the team negative has said. Are you ready?
Okay.
Time starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Francisco. I'm calling from Mexico. I'm supporting my colleague in favor of the oil is one of the cheapest and abundant forms of energy in the planet. Here in Mexico, we have plenty of oil. Mexico has found new reserves of oil. I think one of my first opinion, well, my first opinion here is that we have all the infrastructure to produce oil. We don't need to develop new sources of energy. We have many countries already have the structure to obtain the oil. So I think the oil is the cheapest.
Time. You can keep talking after you hear the chimes, but I stop counting points. So good, you gave an intro, you clearly stated, and then you talked about there's plenty of oil in Mexico. You said the infrastructure's there. This all, again, goes back to your resolution. Oil is cheap, and it's the best form. Well, certainly you're hitting that it's cheap, but are you saying that it's the best form? I think you're getting it. You're getting there. Okay, so back over to the negative. David, it's your turn again. You have a minute. Are you ready? Hey, David, your time starts.
Well, I think it's Wellington, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, wait a minute.
Yes.
Wellington. Oh, good grief, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Wellington was probably. Oh, thank God, I get a break for a change. Okay, Wellington, go ahead, please. Your time starts now.
Okay. I agree with my colleague David, and so I would support their words, starting with the problems that we find about over the nature. We know that all the time, because ever human oil is spilled in the nature. This way, the sea is polluted, and this increase many problems like the sea, the fishes, the sea, the fish. Brazil discovered a big a place. The name is Brazil, but they have problems, economic problems now.
Time is up.
Wow,
All right,
very fast.
So 2 points there. Now your second point, really, you should bring that back to the cost, because that fits into the price of oil, right? So even at $33 US a barrel, that's not the true cost of it. We got to look at the cleanup cost. We got to look at the cost of cleaning up the oceans, the land. Tie it back, get more points, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so on the other team, we've had Ruxia. Okay, so Hyde, you can go next. Are you ready?
Yeah, okay.
1 minute starting now.
I'm Hyde from Japan again. Thank you for listening my speech again. Before I said about only negative point of the lower oil price, but this time I want to talk to you about from a different point of view. In Asia, there are a lot of developing countries like Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia. the very big companies nowadays, they're outsourcing those countries. For them, they need to generate a lot of electricity. Then lower oil price is very good for them. So maybe they can make a lot of products, and even they are using a lot of cars or ships to export their products. So it's very beneficial for those countries.
All right, thank you very much. Really, part of your second point goes into your third point. Just having trouble typing there. So good, 3 points provided the intro. And one thing too is, now again, what I have on the screen, this is my idea. You can change it a little bit. Hello, my name is Hyde. My first point is that Asian countries are developing. They're using a lot of oil. Oil is cheap. It's allowing them to grow their economies much faster than anywhere else in the world. Boom. My second point is, it is very, very beneficial because of, and go on to the next one. All right, excellent. All right, now we're back over to the affirmative. And guess whose term it is this time? I think I'll remember correctly. This time it's David. Your time starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we have discussed before, it's very clear and very obvious that oil is still the cheapest and the best form of the best form of energy on the planet for the 5 reasons that I mentioned before. As you can see, my colleagues, the opposition, cannot really come up with really good arguments to counteract my points that still, up to now, oil is the cheapest and the best form of energy in the planet. It's everywhere. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm against it. I'm sorry. I screwed up. I'm sorry. I screwed up.
Yes, you did. So these are good points that you've given to the other team.
I screwed up. I'm sorry. I'm still thinking about the other one. I'm sorry.
That's okay. This happened once before in another class. Hyde, you can thank David here. Basically, David has said that David and Wellington have not properly answered the points. He doesn't think the negative is doing a good job, is what David has said. David, that's pretty good. I like that. I think I knew what you wanted to say, but I couldn't interrupt. This does happen sometimes, especially when you switch your position. So these points actually go to the affirmative. David's actually helped the affirmative out this time. So going back to the affirmative, we have Ruxia up next. Ruxia, David's already helped you out, but you've got a minute starting now. What would you like to say?
Sorry, is this just oh, okay, so it's just a review. Hello, my name is Raksha. So which side am I on?
Oh, I can't tell you that. You guys got to pay attention to what side you're on.
Okay, so so you said David is says something like, okay, so I think the oil is the cheapest and the best. God. I'm not following. I don't know which side I'm on. Sorry, I was working on something, so sorry.
Well, yeah, and that's why stuff like this, you guys have to listen throughout the class. If you're not paying attention, it is going to affect you. And I am not going to tell you what team you're on. So the good news is you haven't really lost any points, Ruxia, because you haven't argued the wrong team. But you haven't contributed any points either. Now, one thing that's important, guys, with this class, because it does involve a lot of work, you have to be fully devoted to it. And you'll do even better if you actually do a little bit of work outside of class, too. On Saturday, I have conversation class. 1 hour after that, we have a debate on the same topic. All right. I need somebody to provide a closing statement for each team. Who would like to provide a closing statement?
Wellington, go ahead. I'm sorry that I screwed up.
No. I think the...
All right, Wellington, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Starting now.
Yeah. So oil was good in the past, but now it's not. Many wars are happening until now, and we can finish with this. We have nowadays science, technology to improve new sources um, of clear energy, like wind power and nuclear power. Some countries discover new sources, but they are having problems, economic problems, and they will be a lot. There will be a lot of money to develop these sources. And uh, the sea, the air, the food are being treated with the oil. We are dying, and we don't know. Plastics, we don't need plastics. We don't need a lot of goods that are provided from oil. We can change. We need to change. We need to think about the future, about our children. And so this way we can stymie and we can do better than our parents. And so I think is this. We have more time. We have more time. Whoa. So sorry, David. David, can you compliment?
Thank you so much for your attention. I know that you will guys do the right decision because our point, we have demonstrated that is the right point. Thank you so much for your attention. And
Stop. Thankfully, I heard a thank you before time was up. Don't forget etiquette, guys. Well done. A lot of points scored there, Wellington, and for the right team. Well done. That was awesome, David. It was great. Actually, some of the best arguments against your team came from you. Hi, Francisco and Roxy. Who would like to provide the closing statement? Cisco, you're up. Your time starts now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just to say my conclusion to this theme. So first, I want to clarify my position in favor of oil is one of the cheapest ways of energy. So we have the structure. Oil is everywhere. Oil is cheapest in all. Is the cheapest energy in oil in all the planet. So I think we are not contaminating the world because, well, everybody has to take care of their environment. I like to point that oil has permitted us to go to the outer to the space, to the moon. So I think we are still dependent. We depend a lot on oil. Uh, we have oil for maybe 200 years more, so we don't need to be concerned about anything else. We have oil for a lot of time right now. So I like to thank you for your attention. I like to be to thank my colleagues.
Well done to all of you. It's too bad Edson had trouble. I felt something in my throat because my mouth is dry. Yeah, I want to share something with you. Yeah, it only works on the Mac, so I got to create a PDF of this. Well done, guys. Now, obviously, if you attended my other class, this was a little easier. But, you know, Wellington, you started off and you got a few points. You were really nervous. But the way you just closed off in the second round, look at all those points you got. You've done a fantastic job. All of you have. I mean, look. Well, David made a slight mistake once, but this happened last week as well. You get so used to staying focused on the affirmative, and then I move you to the negative, you forget you're on the negative. This can happen, and I generally do move people around a little bit. Oh my God, it's already 8 o'clock. We're late. I'm sorry, guys. I don't like to run late. Does anybody have classes after this? Do any of you?
No.